Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to today's video. Today we have a special series brought to you by VULCAN. VULCAN was kind enough to sponsor this video and send us for this series 3 different type of car carrier tie downs that we're going to show you how to use. VULCAN offers multiple tie down solutions for basically any vehicle that you have that you need to transport. For the duration of this 3-part series, we are going to be using the chain and chain hook assembly for our tie downs, but shown on screen here is some of the other tie downs that they offer. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and take these products out into the field, show you guys how to properly use them. And if you are interested in any of these products, please be sure to check down in the description below where you can find links to any of the products used in the video. When you click on the links below, that'll take you to Truck and Tow, which is their distributor for the VULCAN brand. So without further ado, I'd like to thank VULCAN for sponsoring this video, and let's go ahead and get started. And thanks for tuning in to today's part 2 of a 3-part series where we talk about VULCAN's various car tie downs that they offer. Today we're going to be examining VULCAN's TH050, which is their exotic car rim tie down system, primarily designed for exotic cars and low profile bumpers and fairings. As you can see, today we're using a Ford Fusion for demonstration purposes, but the idea behind these straps is that there's no way for you to get under the vehicle because it has let's say a full bottom skid plate, so there's no T-hook slots or anything like that where you can use traditional methods to tie down the vehicle. So in this case, what we're going to be using is the TH050, which is a rim tie down. So the tie down is actually going to go through the rim, and it's going to use the rim and tire to secure the vehicle on all 4 corners of the vehicle. So benefits of using the rim tie down system versus traditional methods, as I said, grabbing what's called a T-hook slot at the frame of the vehicle, is that by grabbing the rim or tire, which is consistent through all 3 parts of this series, we are grabbing the rim or tire in all 3 tie down versions. The benefits to this is that it allows the vehicle to freely ride on its suspension. What that does for you is it prevents wear and tear. It reduces the wear and tear on the strap and the ratchet. It also allows, again, the vehicle to ride freely on its suspension. That creates a much smoother ride for the vehicle. What can happen by going to the suspension is that you inhibit the vehicle from riding on its suspension, which could cause, say you hit a really big bump, it could actually cause the windshield to crack, pieces of the fairings and bumpers to come unclipped. All in all, it allows for a much smoother ride and less wear and tear on your equipment. So let's talk about the strap itself. The strap here is a green, and you will notice this is the high-vis version of the strap tie down. We are going to be using different versions throughout this 3-part series. In part 1, we examined the Pro series, which is a thicker webbing. This high-vis webbing has these little, each stitch is a high-vis material that when lights at night light it up, it becomes attractive to traffic. So that's pretty cool. Now let's go ahead and examine what we have here. We have a 12-foot long strap, again in the high vis, and what you'll notice is at the very end of the strap we have what's called the wear protector, which is going to be designed to go inside the rim. That's going to protect your high dollar rims from any cuts, any abrasions, anything like that going down the road. This will be in place to protect the high dollar rim, and then you have what's called the ring here, which we will show you how to use. But essentially what happens is we go through the ring and create a lasso around the tire and the rim to tie down the vehicle. Okay, now that we've talked about the strap, we're going to talk about the ratchet. Again, as mentioned in the intro, we are going to be using the chain and hook assembly for the chain anchors, which is what is on my flatbed here that I'm going to be using to tie down this vehicle. As mentioned in the intro though, Vulcan does offer many different tie down solutions for whatever kind of bed or trailer or anything like that that you're using. They do have multiple solutions, so any anything on the receiving end of your deck that you need, they will be able to accommodate for. So again, before we get started here, let's talk about what this strap is meant for, who the type of person this is meant for. Again, this can work on any vehicle. Like I said, we are using it on a Ford Fusion here, but the concept behind it that it's more catered to is going to be for the exotic cars. Why exotic cars? Well, exotic cars most of the time are going to be very low off the ground, so they'll maybe have about an inch or two of ground clearance between, let's say, the aerodynamic spoilers, anything like that that is on place on these high dollar vehicles, high dollar exotic cars. There's really nowhere for you to take a strap and reach under, let's say grab the frame or any of the dedicated tie down points that a lot of cars have. Sometimes that's an issue, sometimes they're just non-existent entirely, they just don't have them. Again, also I spoke about a full body skid plate on the bottom. A lot of these high dollar cars have full skid plates on the bottom, so that it completely inhibits you from using traditional methods to tie down a vehicle. So what this tie down method allows for us to do is use the rim and tire, which is going to be on every single vehicle, and this is going to allow us to safely, keyword safe, because a lot of times with these exotic cars, they are high dollar rims, they're carbon fiber, they're really nice polished metal. So what this system allows for us to do is use the wear protector to protect the rim, and it also allows us to safely tie down the vehicle without having to get anywhere near any of this aerodynamic packaging, anything like that that the vehicle may have. So that's what the tie down is primarily geared toward. Again, this can work for any vehicle that has a similar spoked wheel. You also you just have to keep in mind that some vehicles and some rims may not allow for this system. If you have really tight patterns in your rim, it just could simply not allow any room for this strap to work in. So just keep that in mind. And again, if you haven't checked out any of the part 1 is up right now currently, and eventually part 3 will be up. Depends when you are viewing this video, but basically all 3 parts of this series is going to give you a different type of tie down, and whatever type of vehicle you have, one of those tie downs will work for you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about how to properly use this tie down. First things first, we're going to want to ensure that our vehicle is in park and the parking brake is set. Those are key. We're also going to want to make sure that the vehicle is centered left and right on our deck here, and we're also going to want to make sure that we are properly spaced between our anchor points. On this particular bed, there are anchor points like every 4 feet, so that's not going to be much of an issue, but for you it may be an issue where say this is your only anchor point and there's one in the back. You might need to back yourself up or forward depending on where you need to be. Okay, next what we're going to want to do is identify the components that we have. We already identified the lasso strap, and also identified the ratchet. Something that you want to familiarize yourself with is how to use the different components. The ratchet is pretty self-explanatory. If you do not know how to use a ratchet, the basic concept is you have your anchor end and then you have your ratchet, and what we're going to do, and I'll show you when we do this, but you're going to feed the strap through and out, and then this is how you tighten the mechanism, and then to release it you pull this handle and flatten it. That's pretty basic. I will show you how to do that, but anytime you use any sort of tie down system, you always want to get in the habit of examining your equipment. Especially with this synthetic material here, you always want to get in the habit of looking at it inch by inch and making sure that there's no little cuts, tears, anything like that that could degrade the working load limit of the strap. If there is any cuts and abrasions, you should either think about replacing it, or at least have it in your mind that it's going to be coming time soon, that you need to keep a close eye on that, because going down the road, last thing you want is for one of these to break. So always get in the habit of examining this strap. It is a synthetic, so eventually it will wear down, but Vulcan has informed me that the material that they use in this is very strong and should reduce the amount of wear and tear on this tie-down system dramatically. Same thing with the ratchet system. You always want to examine, make sure that your pin is in place, your cotter pin's in place, and your actual pin is in place. Make sure everything, all the welds look good, no drag marks, none of these are worn down, and that everything moves freely, everything's lubricated, everything like that. So now that we've done that and we've examined our equipment, we know that we're good to go, so we're gonna go ahead and show you how to properly tie down this vehicle. Okay, so first things first, we're gonna wanna examine our lasso system. Now, where are we gonna wanna put this? Well, the best place to put this is going to be pretty much at this position. You have essentially 3 spokes to choose from, and you also wanna keep in mind that we are going to be pulling the front forward, and we're gonna be pulling the back of the car back. That's gonna give us a 4-point tie down. That's very important. 4-point tie down is required by state and federal regulations to go down the road. So you always wanna make sure that you have a 4-point tie down. Key to the 4-point tie down though is that you have opposing forces. So you have 2 pulling forward, 2 pulling back. If you have all 4 points pulling forward and nothing holding it back, that completely defeats the purpose of a tie down. So that's a key. We're gonna make sure that on the front we go forward, on the back we go back. So here we have 3, I'm gonna call it spokes, because these are what we refer to as spokes. We're gonna have 3 spokes to choose from on where we're gonna wanna use our tie down system. You have this one, and this one. Let's talk about it. The bottom here is not a good choice, I would say, because what's going to happen is as we pull forward, it's going to create a bind in the strap, and it's going to rotate up into the spoke and create a bind, and that bind is going to be against a sharp edge. And going down the road, let's say you have a long distance trip, that could eventually wear down and cut your strap. So that is not a good choice. Same thing up here. This is going to kind of create a bind. It's going to pull down into this bottom of the spoke. We also have the valve stem here. That is pretty key. We completely want to avoid the valve stem. If it was in this position, we would either have to think about repositioning the car or making sure that our strap is at a point where it's not going to interfere with this valve stem. If you were to let's say tie down against this valve stem, it could easily rip this valve stem out and all the air out of this tire. So we completely want to avoid the valve stem. So that's something else that you need to look out for. And then here in this middle spoke, this is pretty much our best bet because we have a direct line pull straight to this anchor point, which I will show you here in a second. But this is going to be our best bet here because we're not going to have any binds. It's going to completely rest along the flat part of the rim and tire. We're not going to get the strap in a bind, and it's going to give us the best angle for this tie down. So this is the spoke that we are going to use, is this one right here. Okay, next what you want to go ahead and do is unravel your strap. So I will go ahead and do that now. And what you're going to want to do is take your strap, and I am going to use the slack end. Now you may ask, why, Trent, why are you doing this? It looks like you're working a lot harder than you should. Well, the reason behind that is, let's pretend this is a high dollar vehicle, carbon fiber or really nice polished out chrome rims. Would you rather put the fabric end of that along the high dollar rim or the metal part? I vote fabric. We here are all about reducing the damage and completely eliminating it, ideally. But what the point is here is that you want to minimize any chance of damaging a high dollar rim, high dollar vehicle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the extra step, I'm going to use the fabric end, and I'm going to feed it through the inside of the tire. So we're going to take it and we're going to feed it through the inside, come out the outside, and we're going to pull our slack through, okay? Okay, so now we have the ring here and we have our rim protector here, okay? So we're gonna wanna take that rim protector and we're gonna wanna kind of pull it to us, because we're gonna want that to rest flat here on the inside of the rim to protect the rim from any Mars going down the road, okay? So next what we're gonna do is take our ring here and we're gonna set it there. We're gonna pull our strap out and flat. Make sure that it's completely straight. We want to avoid any binds in the strap. We don't want to have any twists, any kinks, anything like that. And we're going to pull this strap through, okay? Okay, so you'll notice that we are set there. Okay, next what we're going to want to do is position the ring to be in the middle of the tire. Why do we do that? Well, we're gonna set it in the middle of the tire because as we tighten this ratchet down, what it's gonna do is it's gonna pull this ring to the outer, and eventually what we want it to end up is somewhere right in this region, right here. That's gonna give us a really nice cinch on the tire and the rim itself. Rather than starting it here, as we pull it, it's gonna end up right around there. So we kind of just wanna make sure that we're sort of in the center of the tire. That way when we pull it and cinch it down with the ratchet mechanism, it cinches it all down and gives us a nice tight bind. Okay guys, I'm gonna bring you in a little closer here to show you what the concept is here. So again, we have the ring end on the tire here, and what is happening is from the ring end, you're taking your slack end and you're going through the back side of the tire, through the inside of the tire, coming out again with the rim protector in place, and you'll notice that is giving us complete coverage of the rim all the way around. And then you're feeding it back through the ring, and as you can see right there, it's slightly inboard of the outside of the tire, and as we ratchet this down, it's going to pull that out. So that's the concept of this tie down. So at this moment here, I want you guys to take note of the orientation of the strap. It is very easy, and I say very easy because I made the mistake myself, and that's why I'm stressing this so much, is that this ring needs to be in this orientation. So from the ring end, you go out, inside of the tire, come through the inside of the rim and out. I did it the first time the opposite, and Vulcan has informed me that this is a very common mistake. And what this mistake allows for is an improper tie down, and it doesn't allow for the full effectiveness of the tie down to work. So as opposed to that system, what people are doing is they're putting the ring here and the strap comes out on this end and out through the ring. So essentially completely reversed, the complete opposite. And I just want you guys to note that this is the proper way to do this, and to avoid the improper way. So make sure you guys watch closely what I was doing there and watch closely at how this is properly done, because this is the proper way and the only way that you guys should be doing this, okay? Okay guys, now that we have the lasso end of the tie down system properly installed around the tire and the rim, and I showed you guys in closely how that was done, now we're going to examine how to do the ratchet end. So first things first, you're going to want to take your anchor and affix it to your bed. So in my case, that is going to be dropped into this chain anchor slot, and our ratchet is oriented in a flat orientation. That's pretty key. You want to make sure that it isn't in the chain slot that allows it to do that. You want it flat, okay? Next, what we're going to want to do is take from the ring end our strap in our hand flat, and we're going to want to kind of run our fingers along the strap. Now, why am I doing this? Well, it allows for no kinks, no binds, anything like that. If you accidentally put it in wrong into the ratchet system and you start ratcheting it down, what can happen is the strap gets flattened, it gets kinked, it gets pulled, and that just degrades the working load limit of your strap. So you want to make sure that you're completely flat, completely straight, in line with the tie downs, no kinks, no bends, just straight angles, straight lines. Okay, next what we're going to want to do is take our slack end, and we're going to want to put it right through this ratchet. Now I'm going to rotate it a few times to give us a nice easy feed through. So as you can see, I oriented the turnbuckle in a orientation that's easy for me to feed it through, and we're going to take our strap and feed it through, okay? You guys see that? Okay, we'll pull all the slack through. And this is a good time for us to ensure that we have a straight angle. And as you can see, we are completely straight all the way up until this, until the ring, and then it makes our bend around and terminates at the ring. Okay, next what we're going to want to do is take our slack end again, and I'm going to do this one more time just to make sure that we're perfect. I'm going to grab with my hand the slack end, and I'm going to run my fingers through and just pull it nice and straight, nice and tight. Okay, now I'm going to feed it right back out. As you can see, there we go. Okay, so as you'll notice, everything's straight. There's no turns, no kinks, no nothing in the turnbuckle. That's very key. Now what I'm going to do is pull this system as tight as I can by hand, and you'll notice here that the ring is more toward the center of the tire, right? So this is what I was talking about earlier. Our ring isn't over here. That's not where we want the ring to start off with. Where we want the ring to start is here, so that as we ratchet it down, the ring becomes more toward the outboard of the tire, okay? So as you can see, that's where we want it. Okay, so now that we've done that, this is the crucial part of the tie down. This is where we examine everything, we make sure that everything's in place. So our rim protector is over the entirety of the rim. There's no fabric touching the metal part of the rim, so this wear protector is going to prevent any damage to the rim. We're also going to want to make sure that our ring is oriented in the center of the tire, so that when we tighten it down, that ring comes out toward the outside of the tire. We're going to want to make sure from there that there's no kinks, no turns, no twists, everything's straight and as parallel as possible. And then from there, what we're going to want to do is, what I like to do is hold the slack end. So this is what I'm referring to as the slack end. I like to hold the slack end in line with with the tie down system. And what I'll do is I'll start tightening it down. As you can see, that turnbuckle is pulling and it's tightening. Why do I hold the slack end right here? Well, what that allows for is allows for the slack to get pulled into the ratchet, and it allows for it to be pulled in perfectly straight. Again, we're trying to reduce the amount of kinks and twists that the strap is subject to, because that reduces the working limit of the strap. As opposed to this, what some people may do is hold it over here or hold it over here, and what that allows for is it to be pulled in sideways and allows for kinks and twists in the strap. So again, we're gonna hold it right here, and I'm just gonna start ratcheting it down, okay? Okay guys, so now that I've tightened down this system, we are almost done. One key thing that I want to stress is that Vulcan has told me that you don't want to get up on the bed. So notice how I'm doing this all by hand. I'm not really putting a lot of force into it. I'm putting enough to where it's tight, but I'm not like getting up on top of the bed and really like lifting and cranking down on it. I'm not taking any sort of mechanism like a pry bar or anything like that to get this extremely tight. You want to get it tight, but you don't want to overdo it is the point. Why don't you want to overdo it? Some people may think tighter the better, tighten it down as hard as you can. Well, a car in park and with the parking brake set doesn't require a whole lot of effort to tie it down, but it is much safer to do so. So the concept here is that you do put on your tie down system, but you don't crank it down as tight as you can. Another thing that tightening it down as tight as you can, it also, just the mechanism, the ratchet mechanism, the strap, it's just not designed for that. And by doing that, it wears down your equipment quicker, and it just overall reduces the lifespan of the equipment. So you just want to avoid that. Again, make sure it's tight, but don't overdo it. Okay, so now that we have got this tight, what you're going to want to go ahead and do is inspect your equipment. You're going to want to make sure that that ratchet has taken up at least 1 to 2 wraps of material, so that way it is a tight and safe tie down. It's not going to undo itself going down the road. Next, you're going to want to come up and you're going to want to make sure that your ring is properly oriented and that your strap goes through and then makes a slight turn to cinch down the rim and tire properly. You're also going to want to make sure that your rim protector is in a proper position. There's no fabric on the rim itself, and you're not scratching or marring it. You're reducing any chance of that, and that your rim comes back out and is properly oriented. Next, what we're going to want to go ahead and do is take our slack end. So I'm going to go ahead and take the slack, and this is what I like to do with the slack. You do have a lot of slack with this system because this is a universal system, so this could work for many different types of rims, could work for many different types of trailers, beds, anything like that. So what I like to do is take my slack end and I fold it in half, right? Get it nice and straight. And then what I'll do is I'll fold it in half one more time. And I'll take all of that nice and straight and I'll pull it right through here. So I'll open the ratchet up, I'll lift this handle and I'll feed it right through here. And then I'll make sure everything's straight and I'll close the ratchet down. What that allows for is a nice, safe way to conceal all of the slack without it flapping going down the road. Now, reasons that you might want to do this is, let's say for example, this again is a high dollar vehicle, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you leave this slack end exposed and unsecured. What can happen is, going down the road, this slack is going to flap and it's going to hit the paint, and what that's going to basically create is high-speed sandpaper, and it's going to scratch the paint, and you're going to be responsible for that. So you don't want to, you always want to secure your slack is the point here. So our slack is secured now. Again, we're going to do one last inspection. Okay guys, our final inspection here goes as followed. We have our chain anchor slack end secured. Our chain anchor is properly oriented in the chain anchor slot. Again, it's not being pulled one way or the other, and it is completely seating inside that chain slot, okay? Our slack is secured, our ratchet is down, the handle's down, and it is secured. The ratchet itself has 1 to 2 wraps of material inside of it. Going along the strap, everything's straight, no bad angles, no cuts, no tears. It's going through the ring, and as you can see, this is kind of the angle that you're going to want to end up with here. And it goes through the rim, again with the wear protector in place, goes along the back side of the rim, and terminates at the ring end. Okay guys, now that we've completed one of 4 tie downs on this vehicle, now what I'm going to go ahead and do is do the other 4 in a time-lapse version. That way you guys can get an idea of how we do the other 4. Again, some key takeaways of what we're doing here. We are going around the rim and tire. We're making sure that that protector is in place, the ring is properly oriented, we have straight angles, we have nice angles, and that our slack is secured, all the ratchet mechanisms, all the pins are in place, all the chain anchors are properly in place. We just want to make sure that everything's proper and that everything's safe to go down the road. So with that being said, let me go ahead and tie down the other 4 via time lapse, and then we'll get with you and wrap up the video. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so that concludes the 4-point tie down with Vulcan's TH050, which is again their exotic car rim tie down solution. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. As always, like, comment, subscribe. I would like to let you guys know that Vulcan has offered you guys, my subscribers, a coupon code which you can find down in the description to get a discount if you are interested in this product or any of the other products in the 3-part series. Be sure to continue on with this playlist and check out the other 2 videos when they are posted. And with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the product. Some key points to take away with this: just make sure that your lines are straight and that this ring is oriented in that correct position. And if you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, be sure to either comment below. Vulcan does have a YouTube comment, they could, or a YouTube account, they can reach out to you there. Or you can contact their support team with their website. All the products below are going to be linked, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, that is going to conclude the video. So I'm going to go ahead and hop in the truck, take off, and tow this car. So thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you thought about the video. See you on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys.